What's good, Black Star Podcast? Welcome back to Challenge Boy Jared. Y'all, single Chinese women are starting to realize that their men don't want them. Oh, yeah. Shout out to China Curious. Look at this shit.
Many single women in China are now embracing independence, prioritizing careers, and rejecting marital expectations. However, some also realize that Chinese men are not interested in them anymore. The term leftover women has long been used in China to describe unmarried women over the age of 27, often implying they are undesirable. 42 years old, life is already halfway over, unmarried, childless, having achieved nothing and burdened with debt. I'm 38 and unmarried. Today it suddenly hit me that among all my middle school classmates, college friends, graduate school peers, and co-workers from over the years, I'm the only one who's still single. I used to think I needed to focus on my career, make money, and buy my own house and car.
I'm going to tell you something. Hold on. I'm going to tell you something. That whole bullshit of focus on your career, buy a car and a house and all that bullshit, without somebody there to share with you, I'm sorry to tell you this, it's worthless. Without somebody there to help and make it home, and that goes for both men and women. Without that house or that life, without somebody there to share it with you, it becomes lonely and it becomes meaningless. And that's what a lot of these women are starting to find out and recognize. And that's the thing that a lot of women here in the United States needs to realize too.
But then I noticed that all my married classmates drive much nicer cars than mine, and they didn't even have to pay for them themselves. I worked so hard sacrificing my youth just to buy a car worth around 200,000 renminbi, and I still had to take out a loan. What exactly do I have to be proud of?
Here's what you need to be proud of. The fact that you're still living. The fact that you're still alive to make decisions for the next day to change everything. That's what you got to be proud of. And I'm going to say right now, Chinese men may not date you, but I bet you one thing, if a lot of men started going to China to try to find a wife, I bet you one thing, that bullshit is stopped real quick.
Even those who got divorced ended up with kids, properties, cars, and assets, plus an ex-husband paying alimony and some young guy constantly doting on them. What have I been chasing all these years? I feel like my life is just one big joke. At 33, I've come to realize that many attractive women in their 20s were already open to dating men around 35 when they were in college. Now that I'm almost 35 myself, accepting a man in his 50s would be like becoming an instant mother without the pain of childbirth. Sounds perfectly reasonable. Heck, those well-off older men might not even find me worthy, humph. Guys, stop chasing older single women. The more glamorous she dresses and the higher her standard of living, the harder she is to pursue. Especially for average guys who are looking to get married, you simply can't meet the demands of older single women. As the old saying goes, it's easy to go from frugality to luxury, but hard to go from luxury back to frugality. If you want an older single woman to be interested in you, you'll have to meet all her expectations for a high-quality lifestyle. Otherwise, she'll feel like you're lowering her standard of living. Most of these women come from ordinary rural backgrounds, but once they've broadened their horizons, they can no longer settle for average men.
Here's the problem. A lot of these women think the average men are bad. But the problem is, a lot of them don't realize that the very men that they're calling average is the very men that's in their spectrum. And even what's funny is, even the guys over there don't even want the unmarried older women, which is insane to me. But then again, it's not really, because a lot of those type of women are pass arounds, to be honest.
So let me be honest, if you're an average guy, run the moment you meet a woman like this. Don't assume that just because she's in her 30s, she's desperate to marry. If you can't provide the upscale life she wants, she'd rather stay single.
我30几岁。
I'm in my 30s, but I just got divorced. To be honest, I feel like divorce is a huge stain on my life because, in my book, marriage is supposed to be a lifelong commitment.
But here's the thing. Why did you get divorced? Because they always say they were divorced, but they never say why.
Person to grow old with. Maybe you think this kind of belief is pretty unrealistic in today's society. I was with my ex-husband since I was 19, and we struggled through over a decade together. But when my youth was gone, I chose to get divorced. Well, the pain inside is something only I truly understand. I don't know if, in the days to come, I'll even have the courage to embrace another relationship. Will I still be capable of love? Do you think a divorced woman still deserves love? You set me up with your friend, I'll set you up with mine, problem solved, we both get dates.
女人都现实得很。
Women are all very pragmatic. If a man can make money, even if you argue with him every day, he'll endure it silently and won't leave. But if you can't earn money, even if you sacrifice everything to provide for him, he'll still look down on you for being useless. The cheapest things in this world are a man's gentle kindness when he has achieved nothing and his deep affection when he's penniless.
男生真的
Men really care about a woman's age, just as women care about a man's height. But the most important thing is that a woman's optimal fertility window is actually very short. This is an objective fact. When it comes to having children, you're not having them for a man, that child belongs to you. As for those women who say they refuse to be a man's maid or a baby-making machine, well, they should just never get married or have kids. Living alone is perfectly fine for them. But in that case, they shouldn't go around spouting nonsense online and leading others astray.
20多岁的男生早
A teenage boy dating a woman in her 20s, that's pretty normal. A man in his 30s dating a woman in her 20s? Not strange either. But look, a man in his 40s, if he's well off, can still date someone in their 20s. And then there's a 50-something uncle. If he's financially successful, he can also date someone in their 20s. This goes to show that young women actually have a very wide range of options, with men lining up for them. But once you miss the prime age, your choices shrink dramatically. I'm not trying to spread anxiety, this is just the reality we see every day. Ladies, it's best to get married before you turn 30. Once you drag it past 35, you'll notice the matches people suggest for you get worse and worse. Divorced men might be the better options. Some might even try to set you up with divorced men who have kids. But you probably don't want to be a stepmom, right? So girls, don't miss your best marriageable years. Make your choice early.
你千万不要吵。
It's crazy how you have women now out there in China that's literally trying to tell the younger women, hey, don't wait until you turn 30. Try to get somebody before you turn 30. That is insane to me. Hearing the stark difference between the way that a lot of Western women think about marriage and the way that a lot of Eastern women think about marriage, or traditional quote unquote type of women think about marriage. Get married younger. That way you have a better chance of finding somebody better. Instead of waiting until you get older and then you find the worst picks. That's crazy. Well, no, it ain't, because it's the truth. Always, for a woman, the younger you get, the younger you are, and the earlier you get married, the better you are off. The older you are, the less of a chance you're going to get to find somebody that's worth the damn. And I mean that very literally. Worth something. Not a bum, not a motherfucker that's just out there just bullshitting around, but somebody that's actually worth it.
搞笑男
You must never laugh at men who can't find wives. It's not funny at all because nowadays, men have simply stopped placing any expectations on women. If men today refuse to get married, a large number of women will inevitably end up lonely for the rest of their lives. The ones who are interested in you, you dismiss them as too poor and refuse to marry them. The ones you're interested in? They're wealthy, but if they don't think you're worth their price, then what? If women keep measuring a man's sincerity by his money, it will lead many men to prefer spending their money on fleeting pleasures rather than marrying you. When buyers stop making offers, sellers lose their market. And then there's simply no market left. In China, many single women express a desire for male attention, flirtation, and the excitement of being desired, despite rejecting the traditional paths of marriage and long-term relationships. Social media has made this duality even more visible. Single women curate their lives online, projecting confidence and beauty while also revealing moments of vulnerability. Posts may range from glamorous selfies and luxury hauls to lonely reflections about dating fatigue, ghosting, or feeling left behind as peers settle down. Women express both freedom and loneliness that come with their independence. The term leftover woman was popularized in the late 2000s to describe women over the age of 27 who are unmarried.
为什么很
Why do many good girls not have boyfriends or even anyone pursuing them? The rise of short videos has given men today an emperor-like lifestyle. 3 skewers of barbecue, 2 bottles of beer, and a plate of peanuts. Then they open TikTok. Oh my, all kinds of good girls instantly flood their vision. Tall ones, slim ones, older ones, younger ones, some singing, some dancing, some wearing black stockings and showing off long legs, others in bikinis flaunting their curves. Sipping beer, munching on barbecue, and watching these ladies perform their talents. Ah, what a heavenly life. I could lie at home like this forever and never feel bored. But you expect me to go find a girlfriend? Not only would I have to take care of her every need, but I'd also have to work like an ox, even turning on the AC for her. What's worse, there's no reward, just exhaustion, this kind of thankless labor. Only a man with a broken brain would do it.
You know what? At that point, you can't really argue you can't really argue with it. And it's not just Chinese men saying this shit too. Because we always heard about how Chinese men are starting to go over to Vietnam, to Laos, to Singapore, some of them going to South Korea. They're leaving literally. They're leaving China to go find wives. That is crazy. There was already a small percentage of women in China, a smaller percentage of women in China compared to men. But the fact that these men are saying, you know what, fuck it, we're gonna go out and go find a wife that's actually worth something. And the fact that there's a large majority of women in China that's single, that's crazy to me. And there was also a video that I discovered that had like 100, almost a million plus Chinese women were single, or it was something crazy. Oh yeah, 118 million leftover Chinese single women. Yeah, I'm gonna do that video next because this is crazy. Yeah. Anyways, I'll catch you on the flip side. Thank you guys for listening. Like, share, subscribe to the channel, support the podcast, and Spotify.com. I will see you guys later. Bye, guys.